Yes. All right. We will, obviously off week this week, we'll practice today, Wednesday and Thursday. Got to take the things that we need to get better at and fix them this week. I mean, usually we're game planning this week, and then we get into the game and try to make the corrections in the game. Seeing as how there's not a game this week, we'll try to make the corrections Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in practice. Do some recruiting Friday, Saturday, and then we'll start back up here Sunday, 100% preparing for JMU. So that will take some questions.
How drastic are the improvements? I mean, do you feel like these are pretty minor fixes that you guys can handle easily?
Nah, nothing's minor in football. It's a tough sport. If you guys understand that or not, it's tough to be good. It's tough. It's a very competitive situation. The things we got to do. I mean, we talked about this a little bit, but defensively we got to tackle better. We got to be better on third down. If you tackle better on third down, you're probably getting off the field, which reduces the snaps, which reduces the yards. So it always comes back down to that. Lined up good. We played physical. We played fast. Our first downs were great. I just didn't tackle very good on third down. Offensively, like the way we operate. The one glaring thing was the 2 times the ball was on the ground. 2 times too many. If we did a heck of a job of recovering that. The one interception at the end of the game was KJ Myers. I mean, he's got to prevent that. That wasn't Paul, that was KJ. But if we don't get those 2 fumbles back, we're looking at probably 21-20 at halftime, realistically. So that can't ever happen. Special teams, there's some things that we've got to do better from a protection standpoint and punt, protection operations standpoint and PAT field goal. Our coverage teams were pretty good. And I thought the kickoff return team was good. The punt return was very average.
Danny, you mentioned critical plays yesterday, maybe Saturday, I'm not sure. What is a critical play?
Third and fourth down. We were good in critical downs offensively, for the exception of the 1 4th down. The 1 3rd down and the 1 4th down on the goal line, which was a combination of Sean not hitting the hole, and it was a combination of me being stubborn and stupid at the same time and going forward on 4th down. That shouldn't have happened. I think we're 5 of 7 or 6 of 8 offensively on 3rd down, which was really good. Defensively, we were 9 of 19 on 3rd and 1 of 3, I believe, on 4th. So, or they were 9 of 19 and they were 2 of 3 on 4th. So, around 50% is not good enough defensively.
Your experience, does the tackling improve as the season goes on?
Yeah, and we probably, in situational scrimmages, tackled more in camp than anywhere I've ever been. And we remained healthy, we tackled good, we practiced well together. It's still different on game day. It's still different on game day, and especially different when you have about 14 freshmen out there. If you count all our redshirt freshmen and our true freshmen, those guys have never tackled in the college football game. So it's one thing that should improve. If it doesn't, then we won't be very good defensively.
You mentioned last week you were looking for defensive leaders to step up, guys kind of take that vocal position. Did you see that? Were there guys who stepped up on Saturday?
I'm not prepared to say that yet. The 3 guys that the defensive staff mentioned, obviously Isaiah Bruce from the player of the week. I mean, he had 16 tackles or whatever, and he's a freshman. You know, Carl Joseph played fast and tackled well. He's a freshman. Kyle Rose on the defensive front may have played better than the rest of the guys. So those guys are all freshmen. So, and I don't care if they're freshmen or if they're seniors. We need guys that we can count on, and we're not there yet.
Are you, I don't want to say worried, do you have corrections that have to be made in the cornerback play?
The corner?
Cornerback play.
Oh, yeah. Every position. Every position. But, yeah, the corner play was okay. Wasn't great. It's no different than the linebacker play, the safety play, the D-line play, or the outside backer play either, though. So there's things that need to get corrected. Nana played good when he went in there. For the 18 snaps that he played, I thought were decent. which was encouraging because he's young and he's only going to get better. If Pat and Broderick don't pick it up a little bit, they may lose their spot to a freshman. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but we'll do it if we need to.
In watching personnel and evaluating, are there moves up and down the depth chart that you envision, or is it still early before the game to determine?
Yeah, I think it's pretty early. I mean, a lot's going to see how we practice today and tomorrow. Today and tomorrow are going to be, pretty physical. Like I said, we're going to make some corrections, which means we're going to put the ball down and play some football here for the next 2 days. So a lot could transpire here in the next 2 days.
Offensively, is that the kind of tempo you want to start out with game to game?
What do you mean by that?
In terms of speed, the tempo.
Yeah, I thought our tempo was really good. We're gonna vary tempos and we're gonna go fast when we can. It's all about it looking good. When you get out there and you score on your first 2 drives, then it makes it easier to press the envelope on some things. So was really happy with the tempo and was really happy with Gino and the operation. You can tell he's seasoned. It's the best quarterback play I've probably been around from an operation standpoint, from a handling the game standpoint, getting the calls in, taking care of the football, checking plays. There's a lot of things that he does that you really can't see unless you're out there. But was happy with the tempo and happy the way he played.
What's your approach to recruiting this week? And is it hard when you only get a couple days to send guys out?
It's better than 1 day. When we only have one, which, sometimes we only have one. We would have went out yesterday, but it was a holiday. When we have an off week later in the year, we'll go out Monday, and it's all local. We'll hit West Virginia and Ohio, Pennsylvania. That's maybe into Maryland, Virginia a little bit. When we have a couple of days, then we can get to Texas and we can get to Florida. So we'll probably send 4 to Texas and 3 to Florida, I guess. I think Steve's going to stay local. Other than that, I think everybody's going to be on an airplane going somewhere.
How important is it when you go out on those visits that you do see the guys who are committed to you already and show that, hey, we're still looking at you? It's not like we're done with that process with you guys.
The guys that
are currently committed.
One, the guys like to go evaluate them and like to go watch them play. From a support standpoint, I think it's tremendous. Fall is just evaluation. We can't go talk to parents. We can't go talk to the kids. We can basically go to the high school and talk to the high school coaches. We'll be in a bunch of high schools all day Friday, and then we'll go pick a game and go really just watch, evaluate, support it. I'm going to go watch my nephew play in Houston because that's the only time I can go watch him play is if I count it as an evaluation. I can only go watch my nephew play 1 time. Imagine, that's the dumbest rule in the world. But it's the rule, so that's what we'll have to do. So we'll be at a high school game, possibly 2 on Friday nights, and I think there'll be a bunch that we can go watch on Saturday, just because there's a lot of games in Texas and Florida that are played on Saturday.
Dan, it seems to me that it would be highly unusual for the number 9 team in the country to have as many freshmen, A playing, and B obviously playing pretty well from the first game. You were asked about the defense, and you mentioned 2 guys, and they were both freshmen. Is it really that unusual, and why do you think that is?
I don't know. Maybe we recruited good. I think we took all the snaps that were played. There's like 2,400 potential snaps for players. If there's obviously 11 snaps and 1 snap. 1 snap times 11, but we still have more seniors playing than we've taken snaps than anybody, which means we've got a chance to be a pretty good football team. I think we had 40% of our snaps were by seniors, where about 17 or 18 of our snaps were by freshmen and redshirt freshmen.
18%.
Something like that. I'd have to look at my sheet, but we have more seniors playing than freshmen. I think there's a problem if you have more freshmen playing than seniors. That's not the case. We played approximately 62 players in the game. That's a lot of people playing in a football game. We knew it was going to be like that, and we've been gearing our schemes and our team to be able to handle that. And that's exciting as a head coach to be able to see a whole bunch of people contributing. Now we squeeze them to get better.
Kenny, you're by all accounts, shotgun proponent, rather take snaps out of there, but you went under center a handful of times.
Mhm.
I'm assuming it wasn't an accident. There's a
No.
reason there. Is it as much of giving the other team a different look as it is giving your guys a different look, especially maybe the running backs?
Yeah, looking back on last year, it would have probably been beneficial to us to be able to do it a little bit more than we did. Gino's good at it. It goes back to, my last year at Oklahoma State, we didn't do it because Whedon broke his thumb. We were doing it prior to that, and then he broke his thumb and he couldn't take a snap, so we just got in the habit of doing a bunch of shotgun stuff, and after doing it for a full year consistently, didn't like not being able to do it more under center. So we worked hard on it in the off season. It gives Gino the ability to do a quarterback sneak. It gives our running backs the ability to get downhill quicker, so it should help our short yardage game. The play action out of it's a lot better, so it's something that we've been working hard at, and we practiced a bunch of that here this past weekend. I thought it looked good.
The same plays, just different look. That's
Yeah.
it.
Same stuff.
Okay.
Do you feel having a bye week so early in the season is going to interrupt your team's rhythm?
Hope not. We'll practice today and tomorrow, full speed live, so that should get us. That should carry us over for a little while.
How do you approach a freshman who's committed to you guys but is still taking visits other places?
Just encourage them not to, and I guess talk about whether we still want him or not. I guess that kind of means he's not committed to us.
Concerning, obviously, if that happens.
I would think so.
Did you expect that kind of game out of Isaiah Bruce? I mean, leading up to the game, was he particularly?
He practiced well in spurts. Didn't know if he could do it for 4 quarters. What he did, he got tremendous conditioning. So he looked the same. And not everybody looked the same in the fourth quarter as they did in the first quarter, but he looked like he was doing the same stuff consistently for 4 quarters. Carl Joseph looked the same way. We got to get some older guys to be that consistent.
What traits does Bruce have that brought this out of him? What as a player and also as a person?
He's a smart kid. He's really a smart kid. When the referees were in here going over all the rules, he raised his hand about 4 times and was asking questions. I mean, he's a smart kid. His conditioning's good. Was a pleasant surprise, but him and like everybody else has got a whole bunch of things to work on, I can assure you.
Yeah, apart from filling schedules and I guess one-sided games, what have FCS teams brought, I guess, to college football? Maybe more X and O than actual competition.
I don't understand the question, I guess, but like.
I mean, they play a different brand down there, I think, because they have to. They don't have quite the manpower, but do you see an effect?
I don't know if that's that. I mean, they have a little less scholarships, but they probably have the same amount of people on the team. They can break their scholarships up, so they still have a good bit of kids on their team. They're still playing with the same numbers. Granted that they're playing with 20 less scholarships, but they might have. They probably across the board have as many people on the team as say we do. Their quality, I mean, it's what you got to talk about, and we're going to talk a bunch about it next week, not this week, but I mean, this same very team beat Virginia Tech a couple of years ago, so that pretty much sums it up.
Their coaches, though, seem to get a lot of attention and maybe hired by other schools. And you have a couple of them too that were down there. Do they, in some regard, they're really good at spread offense, even stopping spread offense because they see so much down there. Is that one benefit for having a guy like Shannon or a guy like Eric, is that they're used to it, they can coach and stop it? Because everybody does it.
I don't know if I buy into that. I think there's good football coaches everywhere. I don't know if the scheme's that drastically different. And this has been widely talked about, but what Shannon and I did was basically the same job for a couple of years. Mine just happened to be at Houston, and his happened to be at Stephen F. Austin. It's the same type football. We're doing the same thing. We're coaching things the same way. There's a whole bunch of good coaches in Division II and Division III. I was in Division II and Division III for 5 years. A whole bunch of good coaches in high school. It's about your path and getting opportunities. Eric Slaughter's making the most of his opportunity right now. He's got as much energy as anybody I've seen. he's been at the Division I level. He was probably a better coach at the 1AA level because he was 10 years older and did a great job to the point where he's on our staff now. So a lot of good coaches out there. Some of them get opportunities, some of them don't.
And I didn't notice you give a hit of the week award or anything like that, but if you had, would Bowie's have been it?
Bowie's was slightly better than KJ Dillon's. KJ Dillon's it happened right in front of me, which I got really, really excited when I saw that. It even showed emotion, was awesome. But looking back on it, Bowie's was better, and the ironic thing about it is it was the same defender. That sucks, man. Poor kid. All right, sounds good.